Hello, it's AlinaGG, and today I have a very special guest with me today. Welcome, Linda Brand.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
And Linda is a female empowerment coach and a realtor, amongst other things. Please tell us a little bit more about yourself, Linda.
Sure. So I have a podcast also called Empowered, and it's just a labor of love, over 50 episodes. And it's a lot of transformational, inspirational, motivational stories, as well as health and wellness. Um, I am a coach and a realtor, like you mentioned, in the process of creating a course. And I overcame a lot of challenges in my life and my childhood, and just kind of transformed my life multiple times. But last year, especially, I sold my home of 25 years and left a state I lived my entire life in and relocated to Florida with my rescue dog, and just left a life that I didn't love and started the coaching and started the podcast. And it all started when I went to a women's empowerment retreat in Miami, and I had a divine download when I was in the restroom of the Italian restaurant, the final night of this 3-day workshop. I'm washing my hands after dinner, and I get this divine download that I belong in Florida. I belong in Florida. And then, of course, you go back home and the fear sets in, and the reality sets in, and all the things. And you're like, oh, I'm not, and then I was listening to one of my spiritual books, and she's like, it was Sonia Kashette. And I was walking my dog listening to this book, and she's like, you accept the ebb with the flow. And it just, a light bulb went off. And I'm like, okay, I'm selling my house because I was in debt, and I was not happy, and my business was struggling, my real estate and different things. And I'm an open book. I tell everything. I'm authentic. It is what it is. I was a single mother. I raised a beautiful human. He's got him through college, and ultimately relocated last year. And yeah, I sold my home. We closed on 2/22/22. And then me and the dog arrived here in April. And then my son, I manifested, he arrived in August after he had other plans. He was in Kentucky. He moved after graduation. And anyway, it all works out, right? So he's about 45 minutes away. And I'm just building my coaching business, and still doing real estate in 2 states, Michigan and Florida. And yeah.
Wow, thank you. And for the listeners, we met through the Amy Porterfield course boot camp, how to create a digital course online. And yeah, so that's
Yeah.
been really fun to connect in that way. And yeah, and what's your course going to be on? What are you ready to tell us yet? Or?
Well, yeah, sure. I'm thinking of different spotlight courses, but the actual signature course is on abundant living. And it's all things joy, abundance, mindset, wealth consciousness, gratitude, all the things, self-love. It's just packed, huge.
Beautiful. That's great. That sounds really exciting and juicy. And yeah, can't wait to check it out. Yeah, great. So now let's backtrack. Let's start with your podcast, Empowered. I love that title, by the way. And what like prompted you to actually go, yeah, I'm going to start a podcast?
Oh, that's a great question. So actually, I had no idea that I would do a podcast. And Kathy Heller was offering her Your Turn to Podcast boot camp. And I went through the boot camp, and I was on the fence, as usual. That's me. I was on the fence about joining the course, but it felt worse to not do it than to do it. And I did it. And I mean, she's amazing, just being around her. And then I had a couple ideas for names. The original thoughts were like surrender to your best life, surrender to yeah, your best life. And ultimately, I use the word surrender because often we need to let things go to create new, and you just have to surrender. It's the way. And that's what I did when I sold my home and left and paid all my debt, and relocated. So, but then I had some other ideas like abandoned to empowered. And then I just dropped that and went to empowered because yeah. And empowered, I love it. And it kind of, you kind of know what it means. And it's ultimately, we're still, it's a lot of guests that are helping people learn how to live empowered, whether it's health and wellness or spiritual mindset, a lot of coaches, law of attraction, experts, all of that. But it's about living your best life, basically. And we are powerful beings. We get to create our realities. So that's the premise. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we were just speaking into that before I hit record, about how powerful our language is, and our words create worlds. And yeah, so that's really great to remind each other about that. Yeah, every
Yeah.
day.
We're spellcasters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My son is a huge inspiration, and he's, my spirituality and my journey, myself, we were also talking about that self-love and how important and all of that. And it all began, I was very, very ill with a debilitating illness in 11 and 12. And multiple doctors told me I had fibromyalgia, and I knew that wasn't the case. And it's a long story I don't have to really get into, but it was 4 years of that where I was, working, taking care of myself. And the underlying blessing was I learned how to take care of myself. And it was really the beginning of my path of spiritual path and journey, self-improvement journey. And I started in doing gratitude journal. That was part of it. So I was healing myself through medicinal, herbal, spiritual, and every possible way I could. I cut alcohol for 2.5 years. I did everything I possibly could. But anyway, I started writing in a gratitude journal. It's been like literally 12 years, and I still do it.
Great.
Even when I have a problem.
Okay, so for example, on a day, if you didn't feel particularly grateful, or if you had a moment where you dropped out of gratitude, how do you guide yourself back? Is it through writing in the journal, or do you have any other tips or tricks for that?
Oh my goodness, such a great question. So, absolutely I do. What I do is I go down to I just literally start focusing on, I'm grateful that I'm healthy. I'm grateful just the most basic things, and it just starts accumulate. You just start accumulating. If you can't think of something to be grateful for, I mean, first of all, the minute you wake up in the morning, it's thank you, God, for a new day, because that's a gift and we take it for granted. And I had a rabbi on my Empowered podcast, and he said that when you wake up, God is saying he has faith in you. It's like an affirmation that you're awake, that you're alive. So yeah, it was a very powerful episode. But I will say I'm thankful because of my health problems. I'm thankful for my wellness. I do boxing, and one day I was walking out of boxing, and I literally came to my mind, I'm lucky, I'm blessed to be able to afford this. We have the resources, to have the time, and to have the physical capability to do it. I mean, when you go through an illness, we all take that for granted. We take it for granted, like you just do. But you have two healthy, beautiful children, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a gigantic blessing. And yeah, it's just, you get into practicing, whether it's, we pay attention and get good at receiving and start thanking God for all the things, finding a quarter on the ground. Thank you, God. I'll take 100,000 times this. That's what one of my spiritual coaches, she's like, you find money. Thank you. I'll take 10,000, I'll take 1,000 times that. And yeah, everything's happening for us. That is a belief, and yeah, you just have to shift and breathe and start focusing on your blessings, and they're everywhere. They're everywhere. I mean, I'm going to be thanking God for this beautiful conversation with you.
Thank you. I did feel as soon as we got started to talk, I did feel that gratitude actually. And yeah, I even felt a little bit of emotion bubble up in my heart as I was tuning into the mindset exercise of the course that we're doing. And it was about inner child and what does your inner child need to hear today. And mine was that it is safe to love and be loved, and that we are loved unconditionally by the divine, by God, and that can never go. So even though parts of life feel sometimes like the rug has been pulled from under us, and I opened up to you, Linda, and I said, you know, this has happened to me like so many times. And even, you know, the feeling of that was even like 2.5 years ago when I came out of my 15-year relationship. And it's been like, you know, but it's happening for us. It's happening not to us, because as I mentioned, since then I've met the love of my life. And so things do have a way of working out, and things work out the best for people who make the best of the way things are, right? And
Absolutely.
yeah, and I mean, I guess you would know that through
Something.
your journey.
It's like, yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Do you know who Gina DeVee is?
No, I'll have to look her up. Yeah.
Okay. So Gina wrote a book that is pretty much every woman on the planet Earth should read, and it's called The Audacity to Be Queen.
Ooh, yeah.
And Gina is who I went to see in Miami when I had the divine download. And she lives in Italy now, and she's a coach and she's a former therapist, and she wrote that book. And she's, you know, people pay $50K just for one-on-one coaching with her. So I bring her up because what were you talking about? Like
So just the basically to feel safe, to be loved and love. And then we went on to what were we talking about after that?
Oh, that's so funny. I hate that this happened.
I do
But
as
no,
well, because I'm so in the present with what I'm speaking into, that then I just let the past go. And
yeah,
it's good though.
exactly.
It's good though, actually. It's a good practice. So she's inspiring. You went there, and then you got that message to move into steps
Yeah.
to move,
Yeah,
right?
no, I got a lot of messages from that, but
And it's
I brought her
definitely
up because
being a queen.
yes, absolutely. But she, gosh, are you going to edit this? Can you
No,
edit
I'm
it?
not editing this.
Oh, okay. No
That's
editing.
okay.
Okay.
We're just
That's
like,
okay. We'll go on to something else and it'll come
yeah,
back to me, I guarantee. So you were talking about your current relationship and how you have to, you know, you were talking about how you got a little teary and, you know, the
yes,
mindset things.
yes. And okay, I want to ask you, what does your inner child need to hear?
Oh my goodness. Um, she just needs to know that she's enough and she doesn't have to prove.
Like, this exercise is so powerful. It just makes me cry. And like, that place that Amy went to, that retreat place, I think it's called Onsite, and Kathy said she went there as well, right? And yeah, it was just really interesting. Like, this exercise, she said, was on the last day. Amy said it was on the last day she went, and then everyone sat in a circle, and then, well, no, sorry, half the people sat in a circle in the room, and the other half stood behind them, and they whispered into their ear what their inner child needs to hear. And so then they kept going around the circle, and then Amy got this guy said to her, that you're perfect just as you are. And that was for her, the floodgates opened, right? So it's
Oh,
like we
wow.
all have this little key in there. It's really powerful exercise. Like, when I hold my next retreat, I'm definitely going to do that. Yeah, I feel like it's just
That's
so,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, I was actually at Kathy Heller's retreat and they did something like that where everybody walked around. We were all sitting and then someone would say, it was like their voice was like the divine speaking, and it would say like, I love you, or you're enough, or, you know, you're beautiful, you're powerful, whatever it was like that. But yeah, it's I think as women, especially, we deal with a lot of self-worth issues and, being good enough and the comparing ourselves all the time and just, the struggles like that,
Yeah,
most of us are
absolutely.
raised.
So okay, so what's the answer then? So with self increasing our self-worth and opening up to receive more of what our heart truly wants, is the answer about um just doing that gratitude work, or is there another piece, do you think, around increasing our self-worth? Yeah.
I think there's a lot of pieces. I think it's about taking time and space for yourself, setting intentions in the morning, especially when you wake up. It's having a morning practice where you're not being reactive. You're not just starting your day with the coffee and the news and taking care of the kids. You're like in the gratitude, you're in the moment, you're in prayer. So often we only pray when we need something or something's going on, instead of like just thanking God for a new day, asking, the Marianne Williamson, the Gabby Bernstein, even Kathy Heller says it because it's from Marianne Williamson. Where would you have me go? What would you have me say, and to whom? Setting intentions, and how do you want to feel today? Just all the things. I have a morning practice. I have a couple journals that have intention setting, and just meditating. Do you have a meditation practice?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's very powerful to connect and just be. We're human beings, not human doings. And we're always doing instead of being and enjoying. And like, here's I have a lot of these cards, but my presence is my power, being present. Like all we have is this moment together, you and I right now. I mean, let's be real. This is the present moment, being present. We're so distracted with all the things. Like it's incredible. And even more, with the devices and the technology and inboxing. And it's just, you know,
Yeah, I do. Yeah, the point of power is in the present moment, correct? Yep, that's
yeah.
it. That's where it's at right here. It's so
Mhm.
great.
Yeah, and when I was moving across the country, I was very afraid. I grow every day. I'm not the same person I was 2 weeks ago or yesterday or 2 months ago. So last year when I was moving, I was so afraid because I was like, oh my God, I've been in the same house for 25 years. I have never been in an apartment. I'm going to be renting. I was like, what's it going to be like? All the things. And it was just a lot. And I have my spiritual, like I hired a coach to help me build a coaching business, but she was more of a support for me. And I would just go to my books and go to my cards because I have these multiple, get all of Gabby's cards. Do you follow Gabby Bernstein?
Yeah, yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
I love her. She's amazing. She's helping so many people. And I would just like pray and meditate and do all the things that we do to support ourselves. And that's what you do. And taking my baths, and, water's powerful. And I had someone on my show who, her program is called Big Life Magic. And anyway, she teaches you how to use the elements and how powerful water is and all the things. It's really cool. There's just a lot of cool guests on my show.
Great.
Empowered. Yeah.
Can't wait to check that out. I feel very connected to nature, and I love, the trees and the ocean. And that's just medicine, isn't it? Like yeah.
So, yes, being in nature is such a healing modality. Absolutely. So, yes, I would love it for you to check out Empowered, the
Yeah, I'm
podcast.
really keen to hear those episodes for sure. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
there's over
It's
50 episodes. Something for everybody. I had a fruitarian on there, a guy who only eats fruit, and he's ripped, and he's got a whole story. And yeah, there's a lot of amazing guests, mostly women, but it's really good.
Yes. And let's do a little pivot now. And at the beginning, before we hit record today, I said I don't like to start with people's story at the beginning or their past. I like to just kind of start where we are in that present moment and what kind of feels like the energy of what's here right now and what's inspiring you, because the intention of my podcast is to uplift and inspire, and then I want that to infuse in every conversation I have. Having said that, from when I was like researching what you're doing and where you've come from, you did make mention of some negative conditioning growing up, and then your parents were Jewish, but not really not practicing, not spiritual. And then that, how have you overcome like any sort of negative conditioning, which can be so subliminal, subconscious, it's like, how
Still working on it, Alina. I'm still working on it. Well, I was in sales for years, so I quickly understood that you had to be positive when you're in sales or people aren't going to work with you. So I was listening to Brian Tracy and Tony Robbins and all of these, Zig Ziglar and these entrepreneurial, motivational speakers for years. But that was just so, because I grew up in negative, critical, judgmental, whatever, that was part of it. But the self-worth thing, I'm still healing. I'm still working on, I had plastic surgery. I've done a lot of things, but taken so many courses, hired so many coaches. And I just heard this the other day from a coach. She said, when you hire a coach, you're not hiring them, paying them all this money for 30 minutes or 60 minutes. You're paying them for all their trainings, all their, the things they've invested and spent thousands and thousands of dollars and stuff. So I've spent so much. But basically, I'm still doing it. And it's reading new books. It's hiring new coaches. I'm in a course right now, Beyond Amy's, a different course that's amazing. And it's helping me. So it's a long journey. I think we're always healing,
Yes.
but I've done affirmations, a lot of that, mirror work, affirmations, meditations, energy healing. I had an amazing woman, Shariana Boyle on my show. She has written 10 books. Emotional Detox is her most famous book. And she has a new book called Energy in Action. And I got the book and I joined her membership just for 1 month. I didn't stick with it, but there was a lot of tapping, EFT. Do you do that, or have you?
Yeah, I do that a little. Yeah.
So tapping, and she does these like cleanses, she calls it, like she's created this clearing, and it's her whole little practice. And I was doing it for a month in her group, and I had blocks, some energy blocks too, as we were talking about abundance blocks and different things. And it's just amazing because we're all spiritual beings having a human experience, and we have the energy things, And I also had another woman, Denise. She's a local. I met her at boxing. She wrote a book and the chakras, and she was a nurse for years. And she figured out there was a connection with the emotional and the physical, which multiple people on my show have said they agree that they believe unresolved trauma manifests in the body with pain or whatever. So I've had some, gut issues, and Gabby Bernstein talks about this stuff all the time. And I mean, she's just amazing. And she'll say she had gut issues and, all these different things. So I think I'm, healing, and the self-worth, that's ongoing. It's ongoing.
So when also we spoke about earlier, about the nervous system and resetting that and allowing ourselves to catch up, and like, so
that I learned from Kathy Heller. So she had a hypnotist or coach basically tell her, because she grew up in a certain way, and she, like you were talking about, she wasn't used to everything being great. So what happens is the body, the nervous system starts to wig out because they don't know how to feel good, allow the good feelings. So it's about everything is going good. You have a new relationship, life is great. And you're like, oh my God, something's going to happen. This is, so you're like teaching your body, I'm safe. This is safe.
Mm-hmm.
Breathing, breathing, and it's just incredible. Just breath is a tool that we have available at all times and we don't use it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It interrupts the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Breathe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So just to wrap that piece up, we were speaking about, so on some level, things can be going really well, but it feels unsafe to experience more joy because it just feels unknown. And then it's that piece. Doesn't the brain, the amygdala, kick in, that part of the brain that wants to keep us in the cave safe and not go out and be attacked by a tiger or something like that?
Yes, exactly. You're right. 100% what it is. So it's ego and fear,
Yeah.
and it's our fight, flight, or freeze. Uh,
Or have you heard fawn,
no.
flight, fright, freeze, or fawn, which is people pleasing?
Ah, well, I'm
That's
a
like a
recovery.
fourth one. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely recovering people pleaser. That is for sure. That and a codependent. I was codependent with the dog. I'm still a little codependent with the dog. It's funny, but it's true. But yeah, 100%. So it's exactly what you said, and unsafe. It feels unknown. The unknown feels unsafe. So that's exactly what happens is, the body starts to, but we can calm the body through meditation, through breathing, through stopping and pausing and saying, I'm safe. I'm safe. It's like an affirmation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Great. Well, is there anything else front of mind for you now? Like what's next? What's inspiring you? With your podcast, are you finding you want to talk to different people as that journey goes along?
I feel like spirit totally sends me guests constantly. I don't have to look for them. I don't let just anyone on the show. I don't want just anyone on. I want it to be something that aligns. I want it to be either an entrepreneur that left their job they hated to create something amazing, or so that's inspirational, motivational, or I want to educate people on how they can empower their lives. I love the spiritual coaches, the mindset. We are powerful beings. It's, success leaves clues. Other people are doing it. We can do it too. It's available to all of us. It's just healing your shit. Really, it's healing your shit and getting, and loving yourself and like knowing, it's just, so yeah, I feel like what's next is it's going to unfold. It's going to get better as far as the technology and the like intros and outros and all the little things that are imperfect, because I'm one person and I have other things going, and but I'm being present and I'm enjoying and I love it. It's a lot of fun. I love these conversations. So it's my passion work, and it's work. And right.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun. I love helping people. We're serving, we're giving, we're serving, which is powerful, right? Because the universal law of give and receive. And I just read that, like, you can't give with the intention that, oh, it's going to come back. You have to give because it's joyful and you want to, then it's going to come back. So, yeah. And then the coaching, I'm really excited to help more people and create a course or two that's going to do well and, give me the freedom financial freedom, time freedom, be able to live anywhere and do anything and travel. I want to travel. I really want to travel, and I want to track my partner. So I'm inspired that you met someone and it's going well. And yeah,
Yes.
there's hope for everybody.
Well, I'll hold that vision for you. And where would you like to travel?
I know I want to go to Italy, and I'm definitely planning to see Sedona, Arizona, and some other national parks here in um, the States. Paris would be fun to visit. I think about Israel just for a few reasons, but definitely Italy, France. People are talking about Portugal and Costa Rica. And then I just heard how this guest, Dr. Esther Zeladon, who was on, she's a huge traveler. She just gifted me her travel. She has a travel like course, and she gifted it to me. I brought her into the Amy course and anyway, but she loved Fiji, and I'm like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. So yeah, lots of places I'd
Yeah.
love to go.
Oh, great. Yeah, I went to Fiji growing up, actually. We went a few times as children. Yeah. And we used
Really?
to play with the locals on the beach, the native kids, and throw the frisbee. And like once my sister stepped on on the coral reef, there were these like anemones that can put their spikes into your feet. And when it gets stuck in there, it's really bad and really painful. And they made this special natural kind of plant-based medicine that helped extract the from my sister's foot. Yeah.
Oh, what was it? What did she step on?
It's like a sea anemone. They're like these kind of like globe-shaped spiky things that these kind of creatures that I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah, or if they plants. I think they're more like plants, not animals. But if you step on them, they can like stick into your foot. Yeah. So anyway, maybe and there's like sea snakes there, and
wow.
a sea
You're
snake.
making me not want to go to Fiji. You're making me not want to go to Fiji.
That would be all
So where
cute.
are you in the world? Where are you in the world?
Oh, so I'm on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, which is an hour and a half north of Brisbane. And so but I grew up in Sydney. So I moved
Okay.
here a few years ago, actually before COVID. I felt the calling to move up here for a long time, and then we sold a house and moved up, so it was sort of like, it felt like a long time coming, but it was also, it was just like that kind of intuition that I felt drawn to move up here. And we probably had some holidays growing up here as well. And it's quite a nice relaxed lifestyle where people will take time to talk with you, on the street. You can meet new friends, you can talk with people, and you can have conversations. And I like that. People aren't too busy like a bigger city when everyone's like, no, I'm go, 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 go. It's like people can slow down a little bit more, although it is getting busier here. I love it. I haven't looked back, apart from my family, who I miss, but they're actually about to all move up closer now. So, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
So,
Great.
yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, this was so much fun. I love talking to you, and I'm excited for what's to come for you. What's to come for you? So you have the podcast, and what else?
So my course is going to be about healing your heart, 5 steps to love, deepen your connection with your heart and with others. And I'm going to get that up there soon. So thanks for asking.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. I'm
Yeah,
excited for you.
I'll share it with you. So and I'll put all your links up. So Linda, how can people find you and work with you?
Absolutely. So I have a website called lindabrandcoach.com. And then I have the Instagram empowered_the podcast. And then my real estate is in Instagram is Linda Brand Homes, and the website's lindabrandhomes.com. I'm down here in Florida in the Sarasota area. And and then Facebook, you can find me.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you so much for speaking with me today. And I can't wait to listen to this back because I feel like there was lots of information there and resources and books and inspiring people that you mentioned. So thank you for sharing so generously what lights you up. Yeah.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me.